Good afternoon, grade 10. I'm so excited to continue the journey with you as we discover the steps towards writing your own speeches. Today, we continue to uncover the principles of writing a speech. Firstly, let us review where we have halted last quarter. May I begin by asking you, what are the general phases of writing a speech? Very well. There are three phases of writing a speech. Before writing, or these are the things you do before you craft your speech. During writing, and after writing. Alrighty, let us have the second prompt. Arrange the following steps before writing your speech. So these are the following steps on the before writing phase, and I need you to rearrange them from the first until the last step. Audience analysis, topic selection, gathering data, determining speech purpose, and specifying selected topic. Alright, wonderful. During the before writing a speech phase, we begin by analyzing our audience, wherein we try to understand who our audience are so that we can design and tailor fit the content of our speech regarding our audience. The second one is determining speech purpose. If you can still remember the acronym PI, we have three purposes of why we write a speech. Number one, when we try to persuade, and number two, when we try to inform, and the third one is when we try to entertain. After which, we try to select our topic and also specify it so that at the final step, we could read and gather data in order for us to craft our speech in the while writing a speech phase. So this afternoon, we are going to focus on the learning competency employs the principles of speech writing. However, we will focus on outlining information and organizing speech contents. Let us project this diagram. We are now at the green box, specifically on the first step, on speech patterns. Note that the gray box is for the preliminaries, the green for during writing, and the yellow for the after writing activities. Moment of truth. Let's take a look at the first pair of writing patterns. So we have first biographical and second categorical. To fully understand these concepts, we are going to see sample paragraphs, and then later on you will identify the writing pattern used. However, let us focus first on biographical writing pattern. This is usually used for describing the life of a particular person, whether that person is famous or not. So all you have to do is to identify what's the main idea of a particular paragraph or speech, and then look if it deals with the life of a person. This is usually used for informing and entertaining an audience. Secondly, if we talk about categorical or topical writing patterns, we are talking about categories, typologies. So we try to look at the following keywords. Another kind, one kind, the first category, the next part on the other hand, and we also have the word while. There are a lot of clue words for categorical or topical, and these are just a few. This is usually used for informing, entertaining, and persuading. Now let's have the first. There are two types of cells, eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells. Prokaryotic cells are the most primitive cells. They do not have a definite nucleus, which includes bacteria and cyanobacteria, blue-green algae. In contrast, eukaryotic cells have been characterized by their membrane nucleus. They contain organelles like mitochondria bounded by membranes and are located in the cytoplasm. They have a definite nucleus. Now, what type of pattern is used in this paragraph? Very well. We have categorical. As you can see, this deals with two types of cell. We have eukaryotic and prokaryotic cells. And if you find it hard to determine if it's categorical, just take a look at the clue words here. Two types of cells, and we have the term in contrast. So we are trying to put together and compare prokaryotic cells with that of eukaryotic cells. Okay, let's proceed to our second example. I think everybody knows who Bruno Mars is. Bruno Mars is a Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter who rose to prominence with his super hit singles like Just the Way You Are, Grenade, and Locked Out of Heaven. Hawaiian by birth, October 8, 1985, he moved to Los Angeles to pursue his musical ambitions. Initially, he struggled to establish himself as a singer and took to songwriting. He moved to Los Angeles, California in 2003, shortly after his graduation to pursue a musical career where he had the stage name Bruno Mars. He has received 3 Brit Awards from 5 nominations, including 2 in the category International Male Solo Artist in 2012 and 2014, and is currently earning an estimated net worth of $17 million. I bet this is easy, and this followed the pattern of biographical. What are our clues? It talks about a famous person, Bruno Mars. We also have the dates over here where it talks about his birth, his move to California, and his nominations in 2012 and 2014. Now let's also have the second pair of writing patterns, causal and chronological. For causal, it deals with cause and effect relationships. So all we have to do is understand if the speech or the written paragraph or manuscript deals with a result and what caused that happening. We have the following keywords: as, because, or because of the fact, for the reason that, since, accordingly, subsequently. And this causal writing pattern is used for information or disseminating information to an audience. And then fourth, we also have chronological. This presents the idea in time order, meaning we begin with particular procedures or steps from the first until the last step. That is why, if you take a look at our keywords, we have before, eventually, finally, first, lastly, immediately, soon, today, and yesterday. These are just the few examples of keywords under chronological. So all you have to understand under chronological is it deals with events from the beginning until the end. And this is also used for informing an audience. Again, just like we have done in our previous pair of writing patterns, let me present to you the sample, and I need you to identify what writing pattern was used. Okay, this is our text. Did you know that an excess in supply will cause price to fall because as price falls, producers are willing to supply less of the good? Consequently, this will result to a decreasing of output. In addition, an increase in demand will cause an increase in the equilibrium price and quantity of a good. As a result, the excess demand will cause the price to rise, and as price rises, producers are willing to sell more, thereby increasing output. So what writing pattern was used here? Excellent, we have causal. So what could be our clue word here? We have consequently and as a result. So we have said a while back that causal has something to do with cause and effect. That is why we have our clue words as a result, which is talking about the price increase and the supply, and also with that of the production quantity. Okay. Next we have this example on carbonara. One can start preparing a creamy tuna carbonara by cooking the spaghetti in boiling water, according to package directions within 15 minutes. After which, saute garlic, onion, and tuna in the same pan with 1 tablespoon of oil. Pour water and Nestle all-purpose cream and season with a pinch of magic syrup and pepper. Stir in cheese. Finally, drain pasta and toss in the sauce. Add tuna and cook for another minute. For plating, transfer it on a serving plate and top it with parsley and serve. And of course, the obvious answer here is chronological. Alright, so look at here. It talks about the steps on cooking a creamy carbonara. We have the clue word start, after which signals the next step after the first one, and the final step. Okay. Always remember that in writing patterns, there are transitional devices that we could use as clues, or that we could use in order for us to show the direction of our thoughts. So in here, in chronological, we have the words after which and finally. There you have it. I think we are ready to proceed to our next pair of writing patterns. In 5 and 6, we have comparison and contrast, and the last one is problem solution. In comparison and contrast, we are actually presenting the similarities or differences of ideas, or things, or places, or whatever the topic may be. So in comparison, we are looking into similarities. In contrast, we are looking into differences, or sometimes we combine them in just one speech. We compare and contrast at the same time. So what are the clue words under comparison and contrast? We have similarly, like, to, compare, despite, as opposed to, conversely, and yet, although. So these are our clue words when we deal with comparison contrast writing patterns. And we use this pattern when we try to inform or persuade an audience. However, when we talk about problem solution, we are presenting an identified problem, an issue, and after identifying or explaining about this problem, the next is to recommend solutions about it. So you have to understand that in writing this one, you first explain what the issue is and then you try to suggest solutions to that issue. And take a look at the usage of comparison, contrast, and problem solution. They are both used for informing an audience and persuading an audience. To better understand comparison, contrast, and problem solution, please allow me to show you one sample. Okay, this is our sample. Fake news and deepfakes are both strategies to spread misinformation or wrong information. Although they both need technology and the internet to disseminate wrong information, fake news is expressed on text or mere words through blogs. As opposed to deepfakes, the wrong information lies in editing existing videos, making them look real. For instance, tech experts may edit the message of a political candidate by changing the content of the message while maintaining proper mouth movement and voice quality. And I believe that you know the writing pattern used here. The answer is very good. We have comparison and contrast. So here we are trying to compare and contrast the differences between fake news and deep fakes. So what are the clue words? We have although and as opposed. And then let's have our last sample here. We are what we consume. This is not only applicable with the food we eat, but also with the type of media we visit and the type of information we consume. While the internet offers a lot of information, some of these are harmful to our well-being. Frequently exposure to negative messages, for example, may affect the way we view things. Exposure to fake news can also affect our decisions. Obscene films may affect our thoughts. Frequent exposure to sad or violent music may affect our mood and behavior. Therefore, as people living in the fourth industrial revolution, we should be careful what we read, listen to, and watch. Let us be more critical consumers of information to avoid being easily manipulated. So what is the writing pattern used here? Exactly, we have problem, solution. So take a look here. We are looking at the harmful effects of media to ourselves, and we also have our keyword therefore. What is now the advice of the writer here? That we should be careful on what we read and listen to and watch. And if you try to look at the last sentence, it is advising us to be critical consumers of information. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is the example under problem solution. So in summary, let us try to look at these following acronyms. BC talks about, yes, biographical and categorical writing patterns. How about the next one? C and C. Yes, causal and chronological. Take note, causal for cause and effect, chronological for sequence of events. Now let's have the last pair. CC and PS. This is very easy. We have, yes, comparison, contrast, and problem solution. So I hope you have learned something new today. I believe you are now ready to apply what you have learned into these simple activities. Okay, this is our wrap-up activity. All you have to do is determine the structure or writing pattern in the following situations. So let's start with number 1. Marian differentiated rural and urban lifestyles. So what writing pattern would be used in this situation? You have your papers with you, you can write them. You can write your answers on your papers. 2. Tonyo was asked to write about Dua Lipa's life. This is very easy. And how about number 3? He was asked to suggest a call to action about not wearing uniform. Number 4, she was told to discuss the reasons of plant growth. And the 5th one, students were asked to write about their morning routine. Okay, let's have the answers. Check your answers a while back if they are correct or not. So in the first one, we have topical or comparison contrast. We could use those one because we are differentiating rural and urban lifestyles. Number 2, we have biographical because we are talking about Dua Lipa's life. And of course, number 3 is problem solution because the problem here is about not wearing uniform and it's calling for an action or it's calling for a solution. And then the 4th one, causal because we are looking into reasons of plant growth. And finally, chronological because when we talk about routines, we start from the beginning until the end of that routine. Okay, excellent, grade 10. Let's also have our wrap-up activity 2. I want you to reflect. Why should you learn the writing patterns before crafting your own speech? Why should you learn the writing patterns before crafting your own speech? What's the relevance of this? So I want you to reflect on your own answers, think about it for a while. Now, this question is asked in order for you to realize the importance and relevance of learning about the writing patterns. Now, we are now towards the end of our slide. May I just remind you, grade 10, to please take your assignment. This is worth 25 points. So I would suggest that you take time to go over it. Do not rush answering it because I have programmed it as an assignment so that you can think over the answers that you are going to put in there. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you have learned something today. Good day once again, grade 10, and thank you very much for listening.